everybody, welcome to the Never Ending Backlog. I'm your host Zach. Today we'll be reviewing 140, as you saw on the previous screen, the puzzle platformer released in 2013 by Carlsen Games, also made Thoth, released in 2016. The reviews, it's very positive with 1,732 reviews. Current price by itself is $4.99. However, you can buy 140 and the soundtrack for $3.99 right now on sale on Steam. So this review is going to cover the basics, which is the install, graphics, audio, controls, gameplay, and just what I recommend this game essentially. Should be pretty fun. The game installed at 84 megabytes. Actually, it's just a little bit under, but just small. As you can see, I kind of changed the formatting from even my little intro video, which I made just last week. So obviously I'm going to be stuck in the CRT monitor. I do have my Razer Kiyo, sorry, still butchering, I'm sure, webcam. I will say it's a very bright light. If you see me blinking a lot, that's why. It's just really bright. I'm not tired, promise. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I did install it. It is running well. I will stop moving my chair because I notice it keeps on refocusing to my background, so I will just sit still. The one thing you will notice though is when I actually load up the game, it'll have my webcam in the bottom left-hand corner, and then actually in the game, I'm going to be switching it off, so that way you just see a small little logo for the Never Ending Backlog. I realized, when we were playing Cyberpunk 2077, that there wasn't really, it was blocking a large chunk of the map, or a large corner of the screen. And let's be honest, we're not here to see me. We are here to play the game and learn a little bit about it, and I'll talk about my experiences with it. The whole rebranding for Never Ending Backlog is so that way I get more time to play games. You can see more of the games. We can kind of experience them together, at least the first thoughts. These are not meant to be spoilers. We're not going to get very far in the game to spoil it. You're going to learn the basics, and that's pretty much it. So let me load up the game real quick. It should be pretty quick. Like I said, small game, so pretty easy there. You should be able to hear it now, which is good. Or at least in a second you will. And we'll switch over to live. And it should be picking up the stream right there. Sweet. As you can see already, love the graphics, love the audio, love everything about this game. Already, it's just beautiful. It is a kind of a, like I said, a platforming type of game. I did get to play it for like a few seconds, and I tried. This is my actually second attempt of this recording, just because the first one, the audio wasn't running right, and it sounded really terribly. And I'm still adjusting this, so I'm sorry if this doesn't sound perfect. I will probably run with this one as long as it's not completely intolerable. Yeah, so let's just jump right into it. This will be a shorter stream. I would assume around 10 minutes or so, because there's a lot in this game, but it's not a game that really requires a lot of review. You'll know pretty quickly whether or not you like it. So let's get started, and yeah, let's play some games. Alright, so for primary controls, it's WSAD. D moves right, A moves left, S, to my knowledge, doesn't do anything, and W jumps, and spacebar also jumps. You can also use the arrow keys if those are more your cup of tea. I'm going to stick with WSAD just because it's a little more comfortable and what I'm familiar with. This did actually run on all three monitors originally. I'm running this in 1920 by 1080 in a windowed mode, so that way I can actually kind of see the webcam, see all of my notes, everything along those lines. Basic principle of this game is you get these little circles that are colorful. You bring them to this eye. Looks like an eye to me. Jump into it, and it changes the color, and it updates the world. It changes the audio a little bit. It adds like a new sound to it each time. The static in those pits is actually deadly, so we're not going to touch it. And like I said, you do have to be very precise. Like if I were to jump early, turn into the static distortion and die. Unfortunate. These little things are checkpoints. There are 8 achievements for this game, which is cool. There are some trading cards. I actually earned a trading card up. As you can see, the up arrow, or triangle pointing up at least. Then obviously it turns into a circle when moving, because circles roll easier than squares do, and squares are relatively static, so that's why it stays as static. At least I assume that's what this all is about. It does actually allow controllers, which is really cool. I am not using it. Like I said, I'm using a keyboard, so yeah, there's some games. Some cool things you'll notice, like you'll think that this moves right now. This doesn't yet. However, when I upgrade the world, and this one doesn't either, when I upgrade with this eye here, so I find the other circle. Let's do this real quick. Perfect. When I bring it back to the eye, it'll update the world and the new color scheme that you'll see there, which is awesome. You'll actually see the the audio bars in the background actually move with the beat, which is really cool. Reminds me of like those old Windows Media Player backgrounds and themes you can do when you're listening to music. It reminds me a lot of those, which is pretty cool. And then obviously, like I said, this one wasn't moving. Now it's moving now, and you can get checkpoints again, new ones or reversed ones, I guess I should say. And then you can jump over here. I will say this gets progressively harder, and it does ramp up relatively quickly. Like if you have good hand-eye coordination, this game will probably be a little bit easier for you. But it's still a challenging game regardless. So obviously this moves around. I have to hit it when it gets back over. So if you're here, there you go. It goes in here. Now you'll see this block right there. Now it goes partially disappeared. Yeah, I got risky. I'm aware. Oh, see, and you don't want to do that. Luckily, I hit a checkpoint right there, so now I just continue. And like I said, this map changes every single time I play it, or every time I get a new ring, it kind of adjusts and gets harder. New tones kind of happen from the beat, which is really cool. And overall, I think it's fun. Like I said, it's really creative and just really pretty. I will say right now, it's super challenging to actually play this game and talk about it at the same time. So if you hear me pause, I'm actually just clenching where I'm just like, oh my gosh, don't fall. Yeah. You can jump into the top brick when it turns invisible. You can jump into that and it will crush you if it changes colors right then and there. So you have to watch out for that dynamic of getting crushed as well. Because if just one dynamic wasn't enough, you have to wait for it to switch. So it's challenging, but see, like right there. But yeah, it is definitely a challenging game. Like I said, I like the graphics. I think the color schemes are cool. It reminds me of like color palettes at a painting and home thrift store, I guess, which is really cool. Controls are super easy. You couldn't get much easier than this. I mean, I guess Flappy Bird was technically easier than this, but this is still a pretty easy game to understand the grasp. All ages could definitely enjoy this. There's nothing inappropriate about this game by any way. There's no violence. There's no swearing, no lyric, there's no talking at all. There's no even menu, so there's no writing. If I push this is the escape key real quick. It's not doing anything. With that, it does not save your game, so every time you play it, it's basically restarting from square one. So if you're really motivated to beat the game, play it till it's over, because there's nothing more you can do about it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, there's not really a lot to talk about this. I think it's a really pretty game. It does a lot with pixels and colors and beats, so there's a lot of cool stuff. I love the static is death down below. I think that's really cool. It reminds me of like maybe a GIF of static that was stretched out super wide. It wasn't like actually just a nice picture all formatted that way. It's like, no, we're just gonna take this giant GIF of static and just stretch it and see how far we can go with it. Later on, I did get a little bit further the first time I played. The static actually moves back and forth, and it shoots across the screen, so you have to try and dodge it, which is terrifying. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like I said, the soundtrack is available. I was saying earlier, basically, if you go to Humble Bundle and you buy a lot of these games, that's probably where I got this one. Humble Bundle does a really cool thing where they actually include the soundtracks for a lot of indie games a lot of time, and they're not included through Steam. It's actually through Humble Bundle, so you'll actually go to like, you look at all your game keys, all the games you've purchased, the bundles, and then there'll be other stuff, and they'll have like CD, or they'll have like soundtracks, maybe different asset packs, books, PDFs, whatever else, other things you purchase. So I think this actually did come with the soundtrack through Humble Bundle. I'll have to check. Yeah, it's really cool. If you like soundtracks, Humble Bundle is your place to pick up indie games, because in my experience, most indie games have some of the best soundtracks out there. I speak very candidly biasly, I guess I should say, about Stardew Valley, because that is my favorite soundtrack of all time. Purchased this on vinyl. Everything about it is amazing. So, oh my gosh. Like I said, don't talk about this game and play it at the same time, because it's way harder than it sounds. And also, monitoring your stats for the recording and everything. So it's definitely one that takes concentration. I did see that this is available for the Nintendo Switch, or at least it's coming to the Nintendo Switch. So that's pretty cool. I can imagine it being a little bit, I don't want to say easier on a handheld console, because I think I'd get more upset with this, and I'd feel worried that maybe in an anger moment I would drop my Switch as I shake my hands in fury. At least with like the keyboard, I can just shake my hands in fury like I'm doing right now. I'm shaking like, how did I dare fall into this static, anger. But like with the Switch, like if I shake my hands in anger, I drop my Switch, and I'd be very sad if I drop my Switch, or I drop my controller. Either one, I drop something that I don't want to drop. So I think I'll stick with PC on this one. Like I said, it is $3.99 with the soundtrack. I think it's kind of cool. I think the soundtrack would be more of a teaser, because like as we were playing this, it went from like a single beat basically to where it's at now, which is more of a they have different chords and stuff. They have different sounds and sound effects coming. So I want to get to like the end of the soundtrack and see how intense it gets, because I'm assuming it gets pretty crazy. It'd be kind of cool to kind of compare and be like, wow, this is where it started, this is where it's at now. Insanity. So, but yeah, this is $140. Definitely check it out on Steam. It's a really cheap indie game. The developer seems really cool. They have some really cool stuff available for it. Like I said, I love the graphics and themes. If you like puzzle platform games, this is a no-brainer. It is very precise, but I don't know, it feels right. It feels like when I stop, it stops like it's supposed to. It doesn't, it doesn't have that lingering effect that some platformers have, where it's like you jump on a ledge and you still take like one step further. You're like, no, I didn't do that. This is very precise, which I like. Even like in the air, like back and forth, it's like, yes, this feels right. So, $140. Definitely recommend checking it out. There's a few achievements for it if you want to get those achievements. I'm assuming they're going to be incredibly hard. I haven't earned any of them, and I've been playing this for about 45 minutes now. Yeah, so it's pretty cool, I'd say. Let's just jump back into my face. And yeah, so that's $140. Definitely check it out. I hope you like this new format of the show. It's a little bit different for me. It's like I said, it's not something I usually do. I've never shared my face in videos. I don't plan on sharing my face in a lot of these videos, just because we're all here to watch games. We're here to play games. I mean, the benefit about this is I'm almost an hour into this game, and I just started recording this, which is really cool. So it gives me more time to do this. Hopefully the content and quality is still good. I don't want to be lazy and be like, you guys would just watch me. Like, I hope this is still good quality. Please let me know, and like it. Please leave comments. Jump on the website, neverendingbacklog.com. All of season 1 is there as well. So all the previous episodes, the podcast episodes. I would say if you're looking for gameplay videos, watch the last half of season 1. I think there's 75 uploads, and they're all on YouTube. So the last 30 or so actually have gameplay video that I took. So it'll be kind of similar to this, but this is going to be more interactive. We'll experience it together. These will all be recorded Monday through Friday, that day. So like I'm playing this today, Monday, January 25th. They'll always be uploaded in the evening, later in the evening. So like this will probably go up around 10 p.m. Eastern time. I have a lot of friends on the West Coast that are going to watch this a little bit earlier. Different countries will watch at different times, all that good stuff. Watch it at your own free will. It will be on Never Ending Backlog websites as well. And yeah, just subscribe if you know people that like games, or they're looking, or you're looking at another game, or you have a friend like, I'm really curious on buying this game. What do you think of it? And it's a previous episode. Like I said, I've done a lot of them. I have an archive on my website. I'm actually going to have a much nicer search engine on my website as well. So you can just look through the list of all the games I've played, and you can just choose the one you want. It should be a pretty cool function that I'm working on currently. So yeah, definitely thank you for joining us on the Never Ending Backlog. I'm your host, Zach, and I will see you tomorrow, I guess. Yeah, tomorrow evening. Next game is, let me go into my list real quick. Next A game. So we already played Abyss Odyssey. Next one we're actually going to play is Ace Combat Assault Horizon Enhanced Edition. So I have played Ace Combat games before. I think I've actually played it one of the PlayStations, maybe the PlayStation 2. It was one of the older ones. So this should be fun. I don't really play flying games because I'm one of those type of people that really get into having the controllers and such, all the peripherals. And if I don't have them, I'm also the type of person that buys the peripherals, and then I play the game like one time and I'm like, that was fun. Now I have the peripherals. That's cool. And I never play them again. I did that with Dirt Showdown. I had the controller, the Logitech force feedback wheel, and I maybe played it for like a couple hours, and I'm like, that's fine. That's really the problem with this backlog is I just buy stuff. I do hunt around for good deals, and I do bargain hunt, and I do that type of stuff. I mean, none of these PC games behind me are new. They're all from eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist when I used to do that. So, I do obviously hunt around, so don't think I'm like, oh, there's Zach here. Not. I do bargain hunt, but I do have a problem where I just buy stuff, and then I see a shiny coin or squirrel and just immediately just veer off. So, this project is working well, I think. So obviously we're 76 games down off my backlog already, so that's really cool. That's a big chunk if you think about it. Like 76 games that I've played, I can guarantee you I never would have played most of those games if I wouldn't have had this type of motivation. So I appreciate all the comments. Got a lot of nice feedback from people. I really do appreciate it. As I mentioned, I'll be streaming on the weekends sometimes, not all weekends. Like maybe if it's a really cool game, or if I'm talking to a developer or doing an interview, or it's just I really feel like talking to people, I will stream. It will be on YouTube Live. I've never done it, so support and goodwill there, please. And like I said, just be nice. Not just to me, be nice to each other. This is not a professional gaming stream. I'm not gonna sit around and play one game to completion. Likely, I mean maybe someday in the future, but unlikely. We're just gonna play games. We're just gonna experience them together, see if we like them. Hopefully, prevent you from having to buy ones that are not maybe up your alley. I will say one thing I'll always do is try to be positive about every game in some way, shape, or form, because I know they're hard work. No matter, even if they're a terrible game or they're broken or they're buggy, they still are hard work. Someone put time into it. Someone, at least even creating a Steam listing takes time. I mean, even creating a website for Never Ending Backlog took a lot of time. So just be nice, be supportive. If it's not your cup of tea, I understand. Don't buy it then. Someone will enjoy it. So we'll find the right game for you. We'll experience together and had some fun treasures, made some cool friends along the way, and I look forward to season 2. So thanks again for joining me. I'm your host Zach on the Never Ending Backlog, and I will see you tomorrow for Ace Combat Assault Horizon Enhanced Edition. Have a great night, everybody.